I learned how to crack the code of multiple personality disorder, dissociative identity disorder, whatever you want to call it. I learned how to crack that code and help people heal. And where that information came from was pretty unorthodox. If you can imagine being tutored for 10, 15 years from people behind the curtain, and we'll explain what that curtain is here in just a minute. What can you expect from these videos? You can expect an out-of-the-box look at dissociation, namely multiple personality disorder. Because I was led behind the curtain, and because I was taught by the alter personalities of those people who had multiple personality disorder, and I use the word had on purpose, because of that, I have a very unique perception as to what this is. Back in the early 90s, I was married to a woman who was diagnosed with multiple personality disorder. Now, when we got married, we didn't know that this was the case, and it was a problem. It was a serious problem. At a certain point, the alter personalities had completely taken over my wife's life. Now, we went to traditional psychologists looking for help, and we were told that it was going to take 10 to 15 years with no guarantees that she would ever be healed. Plus, the therapy process at that time involved something called an abreaction. What an abreaction is very simple. You relive the horrific abuse and the horrific experiences that caused the alters to split off in the first place. And somehow you're supposed to process that emotion. And if you do it enough times, maybe you can look at an integration. And in those days, integrations were very painful, definitely very painful and taxing on the body. And knowing what I know now, as I look back at that, I totally understand why. Well, when we were facing the prognosis of 10 to 15 years with no guarantees, we felt that just because somebody hasn't figured out how to heal this process doesn't mean that it can't be healed. In fact, we made it our quest, and I learned a great deal of things through traditional therapy, through things that are called metaphysical therapy, learned things from the science community, quantum physics, you name it. In fact, we even went the vitamin route. We looked at the bumblebee and we recognized that just because nobody could figure out how it flies, nobody told the bee that it couldn't fly, and it does. Well, nobody told us that we could not come up with a program to help people heal from this. Along the way, I started seeing clients. And I started using the same techniques that my wife and I had used in her healing. And we found out that, hey, not only did it go really well, it went really well. My first client came and she had several personalities. And within 12 hours of therapy time, she was completely integrated, and she now lives her life in peace. Then the next client was a little more involved, and then the next one was a little more involved, and after over 180 clients that I have helped come from what we affectionately called a Rolodex out of control, where they never knew from time to time what personality they were. Most of my clients ended up being the lost causes, the ones that other therapists couldn't do anything with. I was what you would say the last resort. In 90% of the cases, they became integrated and healed completely. Now I say 90% because with this, you gotta want it. One of the principal elements of the universe is the principle of choice. Everyone has a right to choose. And if you choose to not heal, well, that's what you're going to get. If you choose to heal, well, you can. You can as long as you know the principles necessary. What do I have that others don't? I have a process. You can have all the modalities that are available, but if you don't understand the world behind the curtain, the world behind the eyes, if you will, if you don't understand their world, it's like going to a foreign country with all the gear that you need and not knowing where to begin. I in no way mean to demean or disrespect any therapy modalities or processes out there. I have to ask, if conventional therapy was good enough, then why don't people heal? If metaphysical therapies were good enough, why don't people heal? Well, there's a very good reason. You see, it's as if each and every discipline views the subject from their paradigm. And unless they get outside of their paradigm, they are subject to the rules of that discipline. It was 6 men of Indostan, to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The first approached the elephant, and happening to fall against his broad and sturdy side, at once began to bawl, "God bless me, but this elephant is very like a wall." The second, feeling of the tusk, cried, "Ho, what have we here, so very round and smooth and sharp? To me 'tis mighty clear, this wonder of an elephant is very like a spear." The third approached the animal, and happening to take the squirming trunk within his hands, thus boldly up and spake, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a snake." The fourth reached out his eager hand, and felt about the knee. "What most this wondrous beast is like is mighty plain," quoth he. "'Tis clear enough the elephant is very like a tree." The fifth, who chanced to touch the ear, said, "Even the blindest man can tell what this resembles most. Deny the fact who can. This marvel of an elephant is very like a fan." The sixth no sooner had begun about the beast to grope, than seizing on the swinging tail that fell within his scope, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a rope." And so these men of Indostan disputed loud and long, each in his own opinion, exceeding stiff and strong, though each was partly in the right, and all were in the wrong. If you just confine your vision according to the laws of your paradigm, what happens is you miss the elephant. You miss the elephant. And it's not good enough to treat just the tail, or just the ear, or just the knee. You have to be able to treat the elephant as a whole. It doesn't really matter what modality it is, unless you have a process and unless you have specific knowledge as to how that world works. And I don't know very many people who have not only been in that world, but been invited to that world. Now, at the time, my focus and my intention was to do whatever I could to help my wife heal. And she healed as far as she chose to. Since then, I've helped well over 180 people. It is my intention and my desire to share this knowledge of over 20 years' experience behind the curtain, to share this knowledge with as many people as I can. I would invite you to like this video, share it, do whatever you need to do to get it out there. These videos build upon each other to give a person an understanding. And like looking at the elephant, we're going to look at concept and principle, concept and principle, concept and principle, and then at the very end, you'll see how they all weave together and give an entire picture. It's a fascinating world. It's one that is full of wonder, one full of sorrow, a little bit of danger, but full of excitement. So come journey with me as we step behind the curtain and explore the exciting world of multiple personalities.